Bright Duty. Every student matters.
This is about the contemporary Catholic Chalcolithic settlement. Contemporary, which were the contemporary, they were there's so many that the places are mentioned over here in Chalcolithic sites. Modern names of the Chalcolithic sites are, which earlier it was the different one. The red color spot is given over here. Even in the textbook also, it has been mentioned like that. In the Chalcolithic is right from the north. It was first, it is given Srinagar, then Islamabad, Harappa. Modern days name we are going to discuss, not the name which was used by the later or the early Vedic people. Modern days name we are coming to discuss about that. Islamabad, Harappa, Ropar, Kalibangan, Alamgirpur, Delhi, Mohenjo-daro, Gilund, Ahar, Nagda, Delhi, Kosambi, Patna, Lekhania. So all these are the important sites of the Chalcolithic settlements during the Chalcolithic age. In the early history, the period has been divided into the Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, Neolithic age, and the Chalcolithic age. These are the different ages defined by the historians to better understand in a part wise. Neolithic means the new stone age. Mesolithic, it's a transition. And the last, from there onwards, the settled life and the modern and the different ways of the life has been developed was the Chalcolithic age. Now we are coming to discuss with the contemporary Chalcolithic settlement. This is contemporary in that the same time period, what were the other settlements also flourished. So after the Neolithic age, the so-called Chalcolithic age began. In that the ancient history, first of all, if we calculate or count it like that, then Paleolithic, which is also known as the Stone Age, then Neolithic age, and the third one is the Chalcolithic age, divided into the three different ages: Paleolithic, Neolithic, and Chalcolithic. So this Chalcolithic age is begun just after the Neolithic age, and it is the time period of this Neolithic age is about 10,000 BC to 4000 BC. This is the time period for the Neolithic age. Then we have the so-called Chalcolithic age. The time period which is mentioned for this is about just after it started or began. This is the 4000 BC to 2000 BC. So this is the time period mentioned for Chalcolithic age. It is the period when people used both copper as well as stone for making tools. Both the things. Copper was also discovered, and already the stone were used by the people to make the tools. So because of the use of the stone, this is the copper is, the stone and the copper is, because of that, the use of the stone, copper is, sometimes it is copper, this is the stone and the copper. This age is sometimes known as the stone copper age. Why it is so? Because stone and copper both were used by the human to make the tools. So sometimes this Chalcolithic age is also known as the stone copper age. According to archaeologists, the Chalcolithic settlements flourished around the same time as that of the Harappan civilization. So here it is, the subtopic is mentioned like that, the contemporary. So which civilization was contemporary to this Chalcolithic or the copper stone age? Was the Harappan civilization. Also known as the Indus Valley civilization. But what is the difference over here? Unlike Harappan civilization, the Chalcolithic settlements were rural. Harappan civilization was considered as the urban civilization. But this Chalcolithic civilization, how it was different from the Harappan? It was a rural civilization. The people living in this civilization, they did not learn the art of mixing copper with zinc to produce bronze, which was very efficiently used by the Harappan people. So this way it is different. And this is the Chalcolithic or stone copper age civilization is contemporary to the Harappan civilization. So this topic is written over here, a contemporary Catholic settlement. Then it is about that. Apart from this, the northeastern parts of India, Chalcolithic sites have been found in all parts of India. Northeastern parts of India. Not only that, it is present over there, or the Catholic sites are there, or the people living only in the northeastern part, but these sites have been found in all parts of India. Inamgaon is one of the example is given over here in Maharashtra, is one of the largest sites of Chalcolithic settlement in India, and it was occupied between 3600 to 2700 earlier. So what is the Chalcolithic age mentioned over there? Just in the previous slide we saw that the 4000 BC to 2000 BC. So this Inamgaon settlement is in Maharashtra, and it is the largest site of the Chalcolithic settlement. And this type of the houses were made by the people. Other than this Inamgaon, there are many other which are available. In the previous slide, we have discussed about that, the map of India on which that the important Chalcolithic sites have been shown over there. Among them, some of them, they were very famous. Most important were there Ahar, Nagda, Balathal and Gilund area is Rajasthan. Western part we are talking. Then Jorvi, Prakash, Chandoli, Songaon, Daimabad, Inamgaon, Nivasa. These sites are in the modern day Maharashtra. Gujara and the Navda Toli in Madhya Pradesh, Kosambi in UP, then Arika Medu in Tamil Nadu, Maski and Brahmagiri in Karnataka. So these are the settlements which is found over here in our country, throughout the country, not only in a particular site. Inamgaon in Maharashtra is one of the largest site of Chalcolithic settlement, and which is found between the or occupied between the 3600 BC to 2700 BC. In this contemporary settlement of the Chalcolithic is what type of the houses were constructed by the people, their living style, so and how much they were efficient in their how to develop the technology, how to build the houses to protect themselves from the hot sun, rain, then fast blowing wind. So this at the site of Inamgaon, around 134 mud houses have been discovered. A granary has been found where the chief may have collected grains as tax from the cultivators. In Harappan sites also, what the granaries were there in citadel. They have the urban culture, divided the urban culture into two parts, citadel and the lower town. Lower town for the common people, and the citadel is basically for that the administrators. Some oval shaped Pits have been found which suggest that the food was cooked by them. The cooking is also been done by those people. They do not eat the raw food, they eat cooked food. Which food was cooked by them? Most of the houses were rectangular in shape. So this is somehow this gives the idea about that the how construction of houses. What type of the art were developed? During the research, a variety of stone tools and ornaments made of copper and red pottery have been found at Inamgaon. This is the work done by the archaeologists. They excavate the site and they collected the evidences from the sites, and according to that, they are depicting and they are trying to reconstruct the history to bring the idea, to collect the idea from those sites and to spread the idea about that how the people in ancient time they were leading their life, how their life was. So not only that, the variety of tools and ornaments were also found. Copper and red pottery were also found at Inamgaon. Then beads of different materials such as ivory, terracotta, seashells, and some precious stones have been. So such type of the things are been found at the sites of Inamgaon, which is one of the largest sites of the Chalcolithic settlement or Chalcolithic age. Sometimes what it is that terracotta figures of women in bulk have been found over there, which suggests that they must have worshipped them. The concept of the mother goddess. This is the concept of mother goddess was also there, which was similar as the Harappan settlement. Then it comes occupation and food. What type of the work were done by the people? And what food they were eating. So now the archaeologists, after the excavation, whatever the evidences they have collected about the plant and the seeds, then the bones of the animals, accordingly they are trying to reconstruct or to throw the light upon the lifestyle of the people, about their food habits, about their occupation, about their work, their income, how they were generating. So this is about that. Archaeologists found plant seeds and thousands of animal bones, and these suggest the kinds of food those people eat. What type of the food they were eating? They grew many crops such as wheat, barley, peas, gram, beans. These are the different types of the food grains which were grown by them. Apart from that, meat, fish, and milk products were also included in their diet because they also rear the cattle, domesticated the animals. So they have the plenty of milk and the milk products, and which has been included in their diet as well. There is evidence to show that the Chalcolithic people maintained trade relations with each other. They were the good businessmen also. They were doing the trade and business also with the other people. And it appears that the Inamgaon people living close to copper source supplied copper tools and objects to other contemporary communities. As it is in Maharashtra and Rajasthan is the means having the rich resources of copper. Khetri mines. Khetri mines, since the even in the Harappan civilization also, they were collecting or they were procuring the copper from Rajasthan. Inamgaon, as it is in Maharashtra, it is also very near to Rajasthan. They also collected, they also brought the copper from these sites. The copper source supplied copper tools and the objects of the other contemporary communities. As it was the rural side, they did not develop like the Harappans. Then it is about that the system of burial, how they were engraved their dead. So this is in the pit the dead body has been kept, and this is the outer structure of the burial site. How they covered this body inside, because they have a feeling that the life is after death also. So as evidences from excavations suggest the system of burial was different. Even in Harappan sites, it was completely different in the contemporary age. Here it is different. The adults were often buried along with the vessels containing food and water outside the houses. Just outside the houses, their bodies were buried. Because they have a concept about that, the life after death. So the food in the container, they have just in the vessels, they are keeping the food also, engraving the food also, as well as along with the water inside the burial pit. While sometimes the dead were buried within the houses. Sometimes it is outside, and sometimes within the houses they buried the dead. Then it comes about that how nicely this Chalcolithic settlements were flourished. The people, they were just practicing agriculture. Other than agriculture, also they were the craft product, producing the craft work also. But then what happened sudden? They have sudden it has been just collapsed or declined. What were the reason behind it? The several reasons may be behind the decline of the Chalcolithic settlements. Decline in farming activity suggested a shortage of rainfall, which resulted in the decrease in the fertility of the soil. First of all, decline in the farming activity. Why the farming activity declined? Because of that, due to the less rainfall. So the people, they did not get the water for irrigation. So in that case, they were not having the sufficient food to survive. So the people started relying on hunting and gathering food for themselves. They migrated to other places in search of food and the shelter. In search of food and shelter, they have started migrating. So this way the settlement was disappeared. Simply it is that the natural calamity is the one of the reason it is mentioned over here, because number one, it has been written that the shortage of the food. What were the reason for the shortage of food? Shortage of food was due to the less rainfall. And the less rainfall decreases the fertility of the soil. So the people, they left their land and they migrated from one place to other places. They left this place and they migrated to the other places or for in search of food and the shelter. Then coming to discuss with the Deccan, the case study in a Deccan. It's a very interesting story given about a small village and how the people, they were practicing the different types of the living there. They're completely differently. Their lifestyle is completely different from the other settlements. Jorbi culture, what it says that the important sites, Tehmabad, Prakash and Inamgaon. These are the important sites. Just now we have discussed in the previous slide also. The Jorbi people built their houses of mud, daub, which were rectangular, and this is the circular in shape, either in the rectangular or the circular shape. They were constructing their houses. The Jorbi people, they were cultivating they were making circular in shape, the roofs of the houses. People built their houses mud and daub, which were rectangular and circular in shape. Not only that, this is the outer means that the structure of the wall of their houses, but the roofs of the houses were made of straw, supported by bamboos and wooden rafts, while their floors were made up of rammed clay. Rammed clay was kept over there to give the finishing of the roofs. Then the people of Jarvi, they cultivated wheat, barley with the jowar, bajra, ragi and grams. So the multiple type of the food grains were grown by them. They also domesticated cattle. The Jarvi people made a larger number of pottery items also, such as dishes, cups, bowls, basins, and the vases. They developed the pottery industry as its pottery has been found at several Chalcolithic sites. Just now we have discussed about that, the Chalcolithic sites throughout the country, throughout India. So in many of the sites, these potteries were found which has been made or prepared by the Jorbi people. So this is about that the findings with the evidences. It has made it very, very clear that this Chalcolithic culture was throughout the country. In many of the sites were found the people they were living in this Chalcolithic settlement. They also practice the worshipping of Mother Goddess. Just now we discussed about that. This is the contemporary of the Harappan civilization or the Indus Valley civilization. In Indus Valley civilization also, there is a concept of the worshipping of Mother Goddess. Nature were also worshipped by the people, early Harappan people. Mother goddesses were also there, and this is the image of the Pashupati. This is Mother Goddess. This is the image of the Mother Goddess. Then the image of Pasupati is also there. This is about that. Now coming to discuss with this. The practice of worshipping the Mother Goddess was prevalent among them. According to historians, Jorbi people worshipped a deity which resembled the Shiva Pashupati. This is also at the same time period, the contemporary settlement, Chalcolithic age, Harappan civilization, this type of the images were worshipped by the Harappan people also. Then after this, the religion and how they were practiced. Now coming to discuss with the burials. The cemetery. The remains of pots and the other objects along with burial grounds of the Jorbi people suggest that people had faith in the life after death. This is the burial pit. And the objects are buried with the dead. Because they were having a feeling of that the life is after death also. The Chalcolithic culture was a rural culture that established trade relations with other Chalcolithic cultures. They have this, they was not only that. Many of the sites, the gold ornaments has also been found. The people of Jorvi were masters in the art of making jewelry of gold. Not only that, as it is the Chalcolithic age, but the gold was also been used for the making of the jewelries and ornaments. The Chalcolithic culture was a rural culture. It was a rural culture which established trade relations with the other Chalcolithic centers and other Chalcolithic cultures. This is the trade relations were also been developed by them. It is a remarkable. The Chalcolithic, the Jorvi people, they have made remarkable progress in the field of technology and they developed the new crafts. So all these things were there, and this is the very important and one of the interesting case study of the Deccan. Although not only it was Chalcolithic settlements were not only found in the Deccan part of our country, the southern part of our country, but it is throughout the country. But one of the interesting fact is given about the Jorbi and Inamgaon we have discussed. So this way the people, they were living their life during the Chalcolithic age. Most important thing is about that what happened in this time period was the Vedas. The composition of the Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads. So these were all the creations of the Chalcolithic age. Flourished between the 1500 BC to 600 BC. This is the time period mentioned for the Chalcolithic age, also known as the Vedic age. It is also inside this chapter we have discussed about that. Who were the Aryans? What were the Vedas? All the four Vedas, their importance, their rituals, sacrifices, how the Aryans, they have developed the caste system in our country. Still we are practicing this caste system. So all such things were developed long back in the history, and still many things are there which we are still practicing. In a very simple way, the concept of the mother goddess. With the different names we are practicing now also. We are praising these gods like Goddess Durga, Kali, Parvati, Lakshmi. Then this is about that the Lord Shiva. Now also in a different form, in a form of a linga also we are praising this God, doing the prayer of this God. So this is all about that, the chapter, right from the North India towards the East, then throughout the country we have discussed with the comparison of the contemporary civilization, which was one of the most important civilizations of our country, is Harappan civilization, also known as the Indus Valley civilization.